Hi, friends. Happy Thursday, and welcome again to another episode of Reinvent and Rediscover. This week, we're on episode 2 of our series of the Reinvention series. And this week, I want to talk all about the courage to get up and try again after a setback or what is seemingly a failure. The reason I wanted to talk about this in the Reinvention Diaries is because coming out on the other side of a setback is so crucial to building your confidence and having long-standing results and evidence that you are who you say you are. And I know that it can be really hard when we reach what feels like the end of a road, but I want to remind you that failure is often redirection, and it's the perfect opportunity to channel more motivation and more drive into whatever goal it is that you have. This has came up in multiple instances in my life. The first one being with my running journey. And I think a lot of people who have ran, can definitely relate to this. I started running last year and then I ran my first marathon in April. I bring a lot of parallels between the lessons I've learned from running and training for a marathon to life. And I think there are so many metaphors to be had between the two. Here's another one for you. After I ran my marathon, I went through injury. That was quite tough. And I think a lot of people probably have dealt with the same thing. Going from not running to running a marathon can be very intense on your body, and most people probably will have an injury after that. It can be easy to see that as a big failure, and maybe I'm not meant to be a runner. That wasn't meant for me. Okay, I accomplished the goal that I had, and it ended my running career. But for me, that was bringing me more motivation. Like, I want to come back. I want to see how good of a runner I can be. I miss it. I love it. And over the summer, I felt so defeated and discouraged by this setback. And recently, I've been reminded that resilience comes in a lot of different ways. I have always said I'm so resilient and it's an important trait of mine, but I think true resilience is tested when you have the courage to get up and fight back after a setback or failure. And I think running ebbs and flows so much. There's so many ups and downs to running. I think a lot of people can attest to that. But having the courage to get up and go out there again and lace up your shoes and try again and just kind of tiptoe back in. Because I think that courage comes from, one, remembering why I started in the first place. Always remembering your why and holding on to that. I think it's so impactful. Knowing the reason why that you do things and remembering how much you love the things that you do. Remember that dream of yours and those manifestations, your aspirations, remembering all of that and not forgetting who you are or what you want out of life because you have a little bit of setback. So I kind of replay those moments where all I ever had was one foot in front of the other, and it got me through some really tough moments in life. Or I remember running my marathon and how joyful and at peace I felt, and running in the middle of the woods on my own, and running at night when I felt like I had no reason to get up in the morning because it was dark and cold and lonely and it was depressing outside. I remember how many times running meant so much to me, and that is what gave me the courage to get up and try again. And I've been running consistently again. I'm trying to build back up a base, even though it can be discouraging to see that my VO2 max has decreased like 4 or 5% or something since my marathon training. Of course it has. I'm not in the shape to be running 26 miles right now, and that's okay. I think sometimes we get so caught up in progress. I get so excited to see continuous progress that we forget that life is not just one big straight uphill battle. You're going to hit rocks and little cliffs along the way and little valleys, and that's totally okay. But that's not when you need to turn around and walk back. I think a lot of people view failure as the end all be all instead of remembering that it's redirecting you, or it's giving you the tools, it's equipping you to try again. Because the next time you try again, you're not starting over from scratch. You know that you are capable. So when you start over and you get up again, you're not really starting over. You're not starting from the very beginning. Now, getting back into running, I have evidence that I'm a capable runner and that I can withstand long periods of time running. So I am now getting back into running, knowing that I'm capable and having more knowledge about running and recovery and taking care of myself and building a base so that now, hopefully, I won't make the same mistake twice, but also that setback has equipped me to become better the second time around. And I think that's true for a lot of setbacks in life. The second thing that has really reshaped the way that I think of setbacks is with kind of like my future plan, my life, I guess. I was obviously living in New Jersey and I had this goal of like, I just need to get to New York City. I just need to live in New York City. It's been a goal of mine since I was a child, probably. And I envision myself being a famous writer in the city and having a high rise and being somebody, you know? But I had a setback. And I kind of had to turn around and go back to Kentucky for a little while. And at first, wrapping my head around that felt kind of excruciating, admitting to myself that I was being set back a little bit. Because in my head, I built this plan, and why can I not get from X to Y to Z in that specific order? Like, why am I going X back to W? You know what I mean? Like, why are we going back a step? But sometimes you have to remember that your setback is built into your success plan. It is a prerequisite to success. And I truly think sometimes if you don't just allow yourself to go back a little bit and learn whatever you missed from a couple steps prior, then it's harder to reach the success. Sometimes you just have to allow yourself to be set back a little bit because maybe there was a lesson that you did not learn all the way. So the universe is kind of knocking you back a little bit so that you can go back and learn, so that you can be equipped for the success that you are manifesting, that you're asking for, that you're reaching towards. And I think when you view life that way, is that everything is a lesson. There's growth in everything. Everything that feels like a failure, everything that feels like, oh my gosh, why me? Why did this have to happen to me? There's a learning opportunity there. And when you start to see that and open your eyes to every little opportunity, your success will be endless, without bounds. And I constantly tell myself that because first of all, it really is true, but believing in yourself to get through everything and to take everything as an opportunity to grow is going to change your life. And I think that's truly the best way to level up. That's all about reinventing yourself, is pushing through the other side of a setback. Like, yeah, this was not really optimal. I didn't build this into my plan, but I'm coming back a little bit. I'm learning and I'm setting myself up for better success to reach my dream in the future. And little did I know, this little setback was built into the plan. It was a prerequisite. I'm just building myself up to be successful with my dream because maybe that dream was not ready yet for me to have it or achieve it. There was more stuff I needed to go back and learn. So when you can just reframe your mind and remember that things happen in life, but maybe there's stuff that you need to go back and learn. Same thing with running. I had to go back and learn how to properly take care of my body, whether that be with nutrition and how I was eating, to recovery and knowing when to take time off, knowing when to not push myself too far and sleep better and stretch more and not tire myself out and overwork, overtrain all the time. I had to learn that through injury and long periods of rest. No, I did not think that was going to happen. I thought in my head the plan was run a marathon, and then either pick an Ironman or an ultra marathon or something more to do, that there's always more and more and more, because I have the mindset that nothing is ever enough. And while I think that's a very good mentality to have because you will never be stagnant, it can also not play in your favor when you aren't learning the lessons that you need to learn along the way, because you're not going to just be able to cruise through life smooth sailing and just consistently be going up a hill. Sometimes you have to mull things over and have concrete knowledge in your mind to be better equipped to handle the length of your goal, the length of this task that you are taking on. And I hope this has maybe brought you some peace when it comes to things in life that feel like an end all be all. But just remember that setbacks don't have to mean the end of the road or a failure, or put your hands up and surrender, wave the white flag. You can choose to get up and have that courage and build resilience like a muscle. But I think it's so important that you remember your why you started in the first place, why you're doing it anyways. The whole reason I was in New Jersey was because I really wanted to live in New York City. But I think at some point I got my head so clouded around so much other stuff. Honestly, there was so much other stuff going on that I started losing track of the purpose of everything, why I was doing it in the first place. So I think coming back to my roots a bit is allowing me to come in with a new perspective of, why did I ever want to live in New York City? Why did I ever even start writing? Why did I ever even dream this big? Why did I ever even dream of this in the first place? It's forcing me into clarity that I was starting to see everything in this foggy lens and it was no longer serving me. So I think this is forcing clarity. And if that's the case for you, find clarity in this period of time. And I hope this episode was helpful to you. I will see you in the next one. And until then, live passionately. Bye.